Transition services. The learning objectives for this section include establish an understanding of the activities of transition services, review the need for transition services. The procedural requirement states the IEP must contain at least one transition service and a course of study that will assist a student to reach his or her post-secondary goals. All transition service areas must be considered, but only one area is required. Transition services in the Post-Secondary Transition Plan are the activities students complete to reach their measurable post-secondary goals. As stated in the previous slide, there must be at least one transition service listed to meet the student's goals. However, this is not best practice. Best practice would be to have a multi-year set of transition services to meet the student's post-secondary transition goals. This can be very time-consuming at first, but it will give a nice layout of the activities to be completed during the time frame the student is in secondary education to meet their post-secondary transition goals. In this section, the IEP team will consider all 6 categories of transition services, then select from the drop-down menu the transition services needed in each of the 6 categories. From there, select the year the transition services will be provided, followed by who is responsible for assisting with each transition service. The school district is ultimately responsible for the provision of transition services to the student. Therefore, do not add a person responsible to assist with transition services if the person is not in attendance at the IEP meeting. Transition services are defined as educational activities and supports designed to assist students with disabilities to reach their measurable post-secondary goals. These services are defined as educational activities and supports designed to assist students with disabilities to achieve their IEP goals and leave school prepared to reach their measurable post-secondary goals as discussed in previous sections. The determination of specific transition service needs stems from the individual results of various age-appropriate transition assessments. Transition services happen during the time frame of when the student is still in school. The transition services and pre-employment transition services, PREETs, are interchangeable terms in regards to services in the post-secondary transition plan. When the IEP team designs the student's transition services, consider the following reflective questions to assure the cultural needs of the student and family have been addressed. What opportunities will the student have to engage in learning opportunities with individuals of their culture or individuals with shared experiences? Do the student's pre-employment transition services provide opportunities for the student and family to explore high expectations? Have you shared culturally relevant resources and opportunities with the student and family to determine the student's pre-employment transition services? Have transition service opportunities exposed students to individuals with similar cultural backgrounds that can support students in meeting their post-secondary goals? The Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction conducted a compliance review of post-secondary transition plans of students 16 years and older submitted by local education agencies via the online PTP application. Many of the compliance errors detected arose at the 3 points during the transition planning process where the other option is available to manually enter information regarding post-secondary goals in the area of education training and employment and transition services. When using other, IEP teams must use caution to ensure a compliant goal or transition service is specified. The Department of Public Instruction promotes through the transition planning process that all students be prepared for college, career, and community readiness. Academic career planning is also being added as a requirement for students in grades 6 through 12 and will complement the transition services within the IEP. In addition, the Federal Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, known as WIOA, includes the collaborative responsibility of school, vocational rehabilitation services, and long-term support to provide pre-employment transition services, or PREETs, to students. The WIOA is the acronym for a federal law called the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. It was signed into law in July 2014 to replace the portion of the Rehabilitation Act formerly called Workforce Investment Act, or WIA. WIOA creates both new opportunities and responsibilities for schools in partnership with the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation to support students and youth with disabilities as they transition from school to college and/or competitive integrated employment in the community. The intent of WIOA is to enhance the services available in school for students with disabilities. However, the partnership with DVR does not replace or reduce the school's district's obligation to provide transition services as a part of the IDEA. WIOA aligns with the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction's agenda, college, career, community readiness for all students. WIOA prohibits local education authorities or the school district from entering into contracts with service providers for the purpose of having students engage in employment skills training at subminimum wage jobs. Thus, WIOA enhances the need for the provision of transition services to students with disabilities, including those with significant disabilities, that will contribute to college and career readiness. Transition service options in the PTP have been revised and aligned with the pre-employment transition services categories listed in WIOA to facilitate the selection and delivery of educational services to students aged 14 to 21 that support the college and career readiness. In summary, WIOA will enhance the partnership between school districts and the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. It will provide more opportunities for students with disabilities in becoming involved in their classrooms, community, and workplace. It is time to have high expectations for all students and empower them to reach their full potential. Effective transition planning with the goal of competitive integrated employment will lead the way in providing opportunities for all students to be, again, college, career, and community ready. That is the goal for the students we work with.